So I'm excited about this project because when I started learning grappling more seriously, I found that there were a lot of videos for techniques and concepts and principles that kind of match everything I already know about conflict, which kind of gives me this opportunity to test these principles out in an individual way with my own body. And I noticed that when I looked for something equivalent to bridge the gap between the individual level and the strategic level, which I think is the tactical and operational level, there wasn't really a lot of stuff out there. Now you can find things on clearing a room or urban operations that are basically kind of ads for tactical equipment companies and private security companies and security training companies, but none of these really capture, I think, the nature of an alive exercise. An alive exercise is an exercise that is kind of rich with the chaos of conflict, where it's possible for either side to win the conflict. And I think this is where a lot of learning happens. If you did not have this, it would be like training in a martial art where you never actually spar, where you never actually roll with someone else, or fight someone else. And without that to keep you honest, it's very easy to get fixated on specific elements of technique that may not prepare you for an actual uncertain situation. So the idea with this project is to show people that we can find ways to get this kind of a live practice with a minimal amount of equipment. We'd like to have laser tag, especially like professional level laser tag that simulates real weapons, because I think that would really get the point across. But since we don't have that at this point, we're going to do it with Nerf guns, because I believe that the same principles will still hold as we're playing with Nerf. I think a lot of people who buy firearms in general don't realize the importance of force and force training. You know, in cybersecurity, which I used to work in, you have red teaming, right? You have an opposing force that comes in every now and then to check your systems. I'm curious, did you guys have a plan here? Like, was that planned for you to move that way, or was that just natural?
We talked that we need to spread out and keep like eyes on target, but we didn't plan further moves. Like, we just decided that we're gonna like have angle.
The only strategy we talked about was having one person run out while the other person is shooting, and to alternate.
Well, that is the very basic fundamental move that I think we're trying to learn, is this, what we're calling it is fix and flank, where one person, like you said, is firing, and then the other person moves and fires, and then you kind of exchange places to make sure that the enemy is occupied. Yeah, you guys are moving.
Yeah, we're sure doing that.
I think here you opened, maybe unrealistically opened yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you would hide behind the column with the same position, it would be very stable and nice. Just to peek in a little bit.
I think this is where I ran in front of T as you were shooting.
And then I shoot you.
Yeah, that is what happened.
Wait, can you?
It was maybe somewhere. Yeah, I think closer to.
I'm running right in front of the line of fire.
I think that's the moment of friendly fire.
So this is another. Another key thing that we're trying to learn is how to avoid friendly fire, because it does seem like statistically friendly fire remains one of the most common causes of death on the battlefield.
We should always try to look where we shoot, and on the other hand, we should always run towards the back rather than on the front of the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the shot.
Wait, so... Oh, wow, that is your head.
No, yeah, it hit right in the middle of my chest. And then I just kept on going because I'm a trooper and had to finish the job.
I totally failed.
That was all me. There was no failure on your part.
That's the hit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you guys know at this point that meant move? Did you say move? How did you communicate?
I think we decided just to point. Mm-hmm. So like when one can point and have you on the gun in the gun side, on the other side. Like I was pointing, and at this point I could shoot you while D was running.
Mm-hmm. What instructions did you give them?
Just like the direction with the finger.
But I mean, what did you tell these two for this?
Right. So
setting this up.
I gave the basic scenario of these are members of two factions or coalitions in an area, and these two are hiding out from a bigger faction, but then the bigger faction is sending people around to find people, and there's someone reckless enough from the bigger faction to kind of take them on by himself.
So what two people would do if someone came in and
we wanted to defend ourselves, and one is definitely more aggressive attacker.
Definitely.
And we have handguns, and attacker have like assault rifle, potentially.
I feel like I get very fixated on one target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You do, to your downfall. I think I also just kind of had a sense for wanting to take advantage of the space and spread out. Like when I'm coming closer to T, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run over so that we have the angle advantage. So like one of us can be shooting while the other is moving, and you're having to worry about a moving target in addition to the person in a stable position shooting at you.
Yeah, I think that definitely shows the fundamentals of you move, you communicate, and then you attack, and you try and have complementary angles of attack. And this is I think fairly clear example of that, but it can also be unclear where it can be broader than that, right? Like someone could be calling my phone, and that could be an attack. There could be a drone, that could be another attack. Like all these different angles when they are complementing each other.
I will call you next time for additional distraction.
I think laser equipment will help a lot here, because we will increase the range of shooting, and it allows for more tactical opportunities, because here we both wanted to stay close and you wanted to stay as close, while if it's more realistic gunfight, we'll be able to shoot maybe 300 meters, so we could hide in the back sides of me, and then you can shoot from one place with more precision. I think if one person is in a good hideout, they can just snipe, and the other person is distracted.
Are you saying, 300 meters, are you saying if the enemy's approaching, or if this seems to me more like if someone's already like if someone broke into the house right now. And
Right, but we would have probably started it from the entrance itself if we had like even like 100-meter range. Like
if we
with
would
a
see someone
laser
coming with gun
weapons.
at you, like from 150
Well,
meters, I would
then
run away with hideout and try to shoot them with maybe further distance, because you would be more protected from that position. Especially if two of you are shooting from different spots.
Right. Okay.
These guns are good for maybe close combat. Like we can try to play with it in either
Indoors.
house or like indoors in the university building, like where you have just stairwells or like restrooms. What we need to learn, what we need to look up. Given that we decided on exercise on the flight, I would look up the experience of similar attacks, like close quarters combat in the limited environments, maybe like urban environment buildings, the parking lots, high rises. Probably there are some good examples from special forces team which storm places, and that would be your position, like as you as attacker, as one cocky attacker, and people who defend themselves. Most likely I would expect it will be from attacker perspective, but then you can learn what people who survived did right and what people who didn't survive did wrong. That would be both video footage and maybe some like manuals on storming close quarters.
The weird thing about that whole situation is I really don't think most militaries would ever let anyone be in that situation unless it's a dire circumstance, like the circumstance of
in that closed environment, or one person.
One person, 1 on 2. That ratio is generally like if you're attacking, you always want at least 3 to 1.
But is that something that there would still be trainings for, in case that situation does arise? Like,
I'd assume that for some special units that would be the case, but I would guess that no normal military would ever train that. The smallest group that you train, or the smallest group that you train is a group. It's your battle buddy. It's the two people working together, like you two were. Though that is often against like a single target in basic training and so on. I think I would actually include looking at a lot of criminal shootings. I think are more likely to have that kind of situation.
I agree. Some rampage against the raw.
Right, yeah. Like that. There was that terrorist incident with the Boogaloo guy who was in a counter-terrorist unit, but he killed a few cops. So that would probably yield some clues about what people do in those situations. My thinking, I think, going in was to try and move as much as possible, because extrapolating from like unarmed combat, that's the general thing. You move quickly between targets. Though I think when the actual exercise started, I actually did not move that much. Once I got kind of fixated on one target.
Well, like what do you feel? Like you moved a lot. I moved less than you. You were a good mover.
Yeah, I'm wondering what we could pull from sports. Because I think like my instincts to move came from soccer. When you get too close to another person on the field, you want to make sure that you're maximizing the space, so you spread out. And I think it'll be a lot easier to find more footage on good sports teams doing similar activities, and it'd be hard to find like this exact scenario because I don't know how much like paintball material is out there.
There's definitely quite a bit, and the same goes for airsoft and so on. A lot of the videos that you would see, I think, when you look on YouTube, is actually just groups of people doing live fire training where there's no opposing force, but there are like targets, and what they're training is how to move without bunching up. Often, I remember from my training, the biggest issue was we would tend to bunch up so that you can kind of communicate with each other, and also probably like you feel like more comfortable when you're in a clump together. But of course, that makes you a target.
That definitely feels more like safe, and that's I think why we converge. And realistically, you need more angles of attacks. So like for every person, different spot I think benefits because you have collective field of view that is broader, so you can shoot the target from more angles. I thought that when you were attacking, it would be like one more realistic pick on that would be that you need to ambush us in some way. So like you need to start shooting when you believe that you will get someone with the first shot. If the ratio is 2-1, like you need to go for the kill right away, and another person would be running away or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that in that situation, the best maybe would have been to do some sort of like role play situation where I would like start to talk to you guys first before
and then pull the gun.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably look more into like the urban operation material that's out there. There's been, I think, a lot from the last Iraq war or the last Iraq war that involved the United States. The Battle of Sadr City, Fallujah, and so forth.
I imagine that with this newer generation of like first-person recording, some gangster shooting could be from cocky bros that are actually wanting to record themselves shooting people. So like something with GoPro or maybe even on the gun, and that could be anywhere in the world. It could be Eastern Europe, it could be Southeast Asia, it could be like probably South America, whatever. Like I think everywhere in the world there would be people who learning from social media hype to record things and